Yes, should we start?
Yes, good evening, everyone. I welcome you all on behalf of iSPELL. Today at this 95th Sunday Sahityak Satsang, I would request Dr. Ashok Sachdeva sir, Vice President of iSPELL, to introduce the event coordinator, Dr. Jayanti, and
Thank you so much, sir.
yes.
Indian Society for the Promotion of English Language and Literature, known as iSPELL. I welcome you all this evening to this 95th E-Sunday Sahityak Satsang on the topic Can't Cover the Portion, You Can Do It and More, Participatory Learning, Teaching in Focus. We have a keynote speaker today, Dr. P. Bhaskaran Nair, and the chairman, Dr. Nisha Venugopal, and Master of Ceremony, Dr. Vinitwa P. Kunderi. Let me avail an opportunity to introduce Dr. S. Jayanti, who is Dr. S. Jayanti, who is the event coordinator for this month, who is the convener of Tamil Nadu iSPELL Forum. Dr. S. Jayanti, who is Assistant Professor of English, Shri S. Ramaswamy Naidu Memorial College, Satur, Nagar, Tamil Nadu, completed her doctorate in American literature and also qualified NET and SET. A specialization in Indian writing in English, diaspora literature, Dalit literature, African American literature, and new literature. She has published over 18 papers in journals and around 15 papers and other edited books. She has organized 3 international and 3 national conferences. She has also conducted an FDP in collaboration with Christ. She was also the coordinator, reviewer, and contributor in the preparation of Part 2 English books for the college, prepared under the guidance of late Professor N. Krishnaswamy and Madam Lalita Krishnaswamy. She is also associate editor of an international journal, and as the convener of iSPELL Tamil Nadu Forum, she has conducted an e-seminar for the students on personality development and a 2-day seminar for the benefit of the NTA, NET aspirants. Dream is to travel around the world and collect memories. It is her ambition to publish a collection of short stories and attempt a hand at a novel. You're welcome, the event coordinator, Dr. S. Jayanti, to take on the stage and proceed further. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for introducing me to this August Forum of academicians, scholars, and learners. Thank you so much, sir. I'm quite elated and feel privileged to begin the first session of the month of July. I welcome one and all to the 95th E-Sunday Sahitya Satsang, an event which brings together learners from all corners of India. Yes, we are here to learn new things every day, every week, every month, and every year. We are gathered here to honor the noble vision with which our General Secretary, Professor Ghanshyam, initiated this forum to facilitate and elevate. It is a people's platform to share and impart expertise of renowned academicians and offer all its members to the fraternity and the stakeholders. Opportunities are made available to improve and elevate by bringing the potential from the margins to the center. With these inspirational vision of the forum, I wholeheartedly welcome the executive committee members of iSPELL India, Professor Ghanshyam, Professor Anupama Ora ma'am, the professor and of course Professor Ashok Sachdeva, and all the other distinguished members for their graceful presence and kind support. I welcome Professor Pramod Dengle. I thank Professor Ghanshyam for inspiring and encouraging us to work relentlessly to facilitate and thus elevate. I thank the committee for accepting our proposal and providing us with an opportunity to coordinate the events of the Sunday Sahityak Satsang for the month of July. This month is to be dedicated to ELT, that is English language teaching. Language and literature have always traveled hand in hand and are inseparable. But at the same time, there is a need to look deeply at the present post-pandemic scenario on both the teaching and the learning fraternity. Ample opportunities have been made available in the online platform to enhance the teaching and learning experience. Yet, when it is from the experts and the most experienced who through their experience have developed a pattern of teaching, we are all open to learn from their experience. This month, we will be witnessing an array of resource persons who are going to broaden our visions and missions. We have resource persons who are experienced and from the Gen Z world also. We will be learning from all of them. Today, we have a veteran in ELT, Professor Bhaskaran Nair. He has always been a source of inspiration for me, an enigma, a staunch believer in reformation, and a selfless motivator and a leader who leads us by doing the impossible. My happiness and gratitude is boundless and immense. I welcome you, sir. I welcome Professor Nisha ma'am, who consented to chair today's session. Welcome you, ma'am. I will always be indebted to you for your accepting our invitation, ma'am, and being part of the maiden session of this month. I welcome the distinguished academicians, friends, colleagues, scholars, and students without whom this event would not be a success. I welcome you all. I take immense joy in introducing Dr. Vinuta, who is going to take the reign from here and carry this show. Dr. Vinuta is currently working as the Assistant Professor of English Studies and Research in the Karnataka State Open University, Makta Gangodri, Mysuru. Previously, she has worked as a full-time lecturer in the Department of English, St. Philomena's College, Banimantam, Mysuru, and as a guest faculty in the Government College, Mandya also. She has also conducted classes for diploma batch at the Department of Studies in the University of Mysore. She has to her credit 2 papers on Dalit literature published in a renowned international journal. She has presented and participated in various national and international conferences and also FDPs, faculty development programs. Her thirst for learning and her eagerness to contribute to the teaching learning fraternity is very much visible in her enthusiasm. Without much ado, I hand over the session to Dr. Vinuta. I welcome you all to enjoy this session. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for your introduction. I'm really blessed on this platform. So now we'll begin with today's session. It's a formal introduction and a formal welcome to one and all. A very warm welcome to 95th Sunday Sahityak Satsang and good evening to one and all, ladies and gentlemen. Live as if you were to die tomorrow. Learn as if you were to live forever, says Mahatma Gandhi. I would like to say that it is the iSPELL forum providing us with a purpose and direction towards our success. With all the hard work, dedication, and love towards the language of many like-minded fraternities of English, the Indian Society for the Promotion of English Language and Literature, popularly known by the acronym iSPELL, was founded on 5th September 2020. iSPELL is committed to providing a platform for the teaching fraternity to progress, perform, and improve their teaching skills to match the changing and challenging times by arranging seminars, conferences, symposia, and workshops. Today, it is yet another milestone in the event. We are all witnessing a webinar on the topic. Can't cover the portion, can do it, and more participatory learning, teaching in focus by Dr. P. Bhaskaran Nair, Professor of English. I take immense pleasure to welcome Dr. Gansham, the founder and General Secretary of iSPELL, to this event. I also welcome Dr. Anupam Govind, the President of iSPELL. I extend a warm welcome to Dr. Ashok Sachdev, Vice President of iSPELL Forum. I also welcome Dr. Murali Krishnan and Dr. Payal Dutt Chowdhury, Joint Secretary of iSPELL Forum. I also welcome all the EC members of the iSPELL India Society and the participants from across the country. I welcome Dr. Nisha Venugopal, Professor of English, Sri Shankaracharya University of Sanskrit, Trivandrum, Kerala, for giving her consent to chair the session. I extend my warm welcome to you, madam. Now it's time to introduce the key speaker of the session, Dr. P. Bhaskaran Nair, and I extend a warm welcome to you, sir. The key speaker, Dr. P. Bhaskaran Nair, Professor in English, currently is a visiting professor of Amrita Institute of Medical Sciences, Kochi. Sir has worked in various colleges in Kerala from 1880 to 87, in Kannur University from 1997 to 2002. From 2002 to 2014, he worked in Pondicherry Central University. From 2014 to 20 in Hindustan Deemed University, Chennai. Sir has done his doctoral research on ELT, English Language Teaching, from one of the prestigious University of South India, that is CIEFL, Hyderabad. He is qualified with 2 M degrees, one in linguistics and another in education. Sir began his teaching career in Sri Kerala Varma College, Thrissur, in 1980. He rendered his service in several government colleges, as I mentioned earlier. Sir is a true academician. To his credit, he is the president of English Language Teachers Interaction Forum and editor of a quarterly journal of ELTIF. He has published more than 50 papers in research journals, about 200 papers in professional journals, about 30 chapters in books, and he is editor of Bilingual Dictionary. It is an honor to share with you all that currently a dozen books of his are in use in various universities across India. Sir is an enthusiastic and multitasking person. He is presently working for rural empowerment through English language education. He is conducting support programs for women, Kudumbasir members, and tribal women. He is currently organizing 4 online series for researchers, teachers, and students. During the 20-month pandemic, he has conducted over 40 programs in total. It is our privilege to have you amidst us, sir. Now the platform is yours. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Vinuta, for this introduction. At the outset, let me thank all the office bearers of iSPELL. I am new to this organization, though I know quite a few members or participants. Sunday Sahitya Satsang. Let me confess, I made a mistake, and Dr. Jayanti didn't correct my mistake either. Maybe because of some sort of a Guru Bhakti, though I am not a Guru to her, something maybe like a guru, perhaps. The mistake I committed was when I was asked to give a talk, I agreed. And only then I got the back history of the organization. What I came to understand was it is a forum of scholars of literature. Then I realized that I would be a wrong person to a right audience. Sahitya, well, I am still a student of it. Satsanga, I don't know whether I am that much sat good to be part of a sangha. Reason is that I didn't get much time, that's all. All the past 5 decades or so, or more than that, I had been chasing village children. So didn't get much time to be part of any such elated community of either scholars or sat minds. Anyway, at least in this old age, I too got an opportunity to be part of such a sangh. I thank all the office bearers, especially Dr. Jayanti too, for this invitation. As I told you, I am basically a teacher, or say, right now I am a social worker. And for the past many years or the past many decades, since I was paid by government organizations, I couldn't call myself as a social worker. Now I can modify myself as a social worker since I don't take any, or I get any salary from anyone. To me, the question is, or all the questions so far I have asked myself were related to teaching of English language or literature, or say whatever it may be, teaching of English. To answer the questions of, say, in the areas of teaching of English, I must go back to learning of English. First, I have to know the learning processes. Then only I can think of some modifications to the existing teaching processes. So I have been tracing the learning processes. That way I went for higher studies and like that. But still my roots were in the classrooms, in the rural classrooms, with the disadvantaged children, with the marginalized ones, the poor, the destitutes, those who were sent out of the classes, those who were asked to stand up on the bench, those who were asked to stand behind the class, leaning against the walls, those who were biting their nails in the back bench, on the back benches. To me, this is the conglomeration of learners. During all the college days, college teaching days, if there was an option for me to choose a class, I never taught BA literature students unless I was forced to. I never chose science batches, again, unless I was rarely forced to. My choice during the 20-25 college teaching years was the so-called rejected, dejected arts and humanities batches. political sciences, economics, Hindi, Sanskrit, Urdu, Arabic, Islamic history, Malayalam, Hindi, like that. So the problem right now with me is that when most of my colleagues have a lot of engineers and say doctors as their students, for their credit, I have not a single one. I think I have only auto rickshaw drivers and lawyers and teachers as my past students. Poor me. But still, these things didn't teach me much more. I am still hunting for village children. Anyway, there's a pleasure in being with those who have nothing. And there's a pleasure in sharing their nothing. This is how I happen to be here. But later, Dr. Jayanti could have corrected me, at least to satisfy the general audience, some other to help me to choose some other middle way topics instead of going to this extreme. Again, the second thing I came across was that most of you would be teachers and scholars of literature, and language as such may not be a concern for many of you, I'm sure. And if at all language is a concern for you, I think it should be grammar, beginning with parts of speech and ending with parts of speech. We never reach full speech. That's a problem with English teaching. We begin with parts of speech, only parts of speech. And our learners, after 15 years of learning English, they also end up with the parts of speech, not full speech. Whether communication is a synonym to English language in the concept of language teachers, or say English teachers, I would say, then things would have been far better in Indian English language classrooms. But unfortunately, communication hasn't entered the Indian average classrooms, especially in the colleges. At schools, somehow teachers struggle, but because of their rather low qualification or say non-competence, they don't get their objectives fulfilled. With better qualifications, wider reading, college and university teachers would be better to equip our learners, the poor learners, with some degree of communicative competence. At least they are with us for 3 years, whether we teach them or not, whether we go to their classes or not. During their prime periods, they are with us, minimum 3 years or 5 years, or even more, doing MPhil and PhD. But even after completing their PhD, they won't send a text message or a WhatsApp message. They send voice message. And I have a little hearing problem too these days. And I used to wonder what happens. Why do the PhD holders say send voice message? Why can't they send a WhatsApp message, a short sentence, a broken sentence? Answer is somewhere. I'm not very keen on finding answers. I am keen on only asking questions and asking questions to myself. And I have been teaching my students to ask questions to me. The only complaint, perhaps, all my students during the last many, many years, thousands of them, sir, why don't you ask questions to us? I don't know. I never ask questions. I don't know how to ask questions. I don't have WH questions. At the most, I have only the yes/no questions. You are in, say, you are from this village, aren't you? Only this much. So the only question I am familiar with is the yes/no questions. And of course, rhetoric questions are there, but they are not real questions. When the whole teaching community is busy with making the best use of WH questions, the whole learners are looking for the correct answers. When they fail to reach the correct answers, they get disappointed. Exam results followed by suicides. Plus 10th SSLC exams, plus 2 exams, and occasionally university exams are all suffixed by student suicides, runaways, totally disappearing from the family, never to come back. You may wonder how these things come to a Sunday Sahitya Satsang. Suicide is not a topic to be discussed. In an afternoon of a Sunday. Sunday is the beginning of the week, and the week should begin with most auspicious things. There is no scope for, nor time for, nor need for discussing student suicides. That is here in my part or in the rest of the country or even outside as well. Even last week and last month twice, 2 important exam results came in my place. As feared, both were appended by students missing and student suicide. I'm not going to the investigative reporting or say inquiry or detective sides of these things. I was just trying to justify myself, my presence before these scholars of literature and teachers of literature too. Did anything go wrong? If anything went wrong, where? Are we part of the system? Is there still possibilities of slightly improving the system? Or should the system go as such with the have-nots being washed off from the mainstream and the haves dominating the classes? Does India need only doctors and engineers and scientists? Don't we need any other things? Any other caller? Well, I have been trying to relate these self-asked, never-answered questions with teaching of English, since I had been paid for teaching of English. That's all. Now, the rather awkward title I gave to Dr. Jayanti. She could have edited it. She could have modified it. She could have presented it in a presentable way to a scholarly audience. Dr. Jayanti didn't do it. I don't know why. Maybe Guru Bhakti again. How can I correct my senior teacher, though I am not a teacher? Unable to cover the portions? Well, once again, I'm really sorry. There could be many among my audience who are not teachers. But the title and topic I gave was some sort of an exclusive thing to teaching. My sincere apologies for those listeners who are not in this profession, teaching profession. Yes. So, unable to cover the portion. This lamentation would be as old as the teaching profession itself, perhaps, because teachers have always been sincere. We may not be able to single out a single teacher who was not sincere. Some teachers were sincere to some other areas, that's all, but they were sincere. Other areas means politics and say organizational work and say some other private business, etc. Anyway, they were sincere. All sincere teachers, especially towards the end of the academic year, used to lament. This is a common feature all over India. Some of my friends, one of my friends commented a universal feature in India. That also is a good expression. A universal feature of India. India is the universe. That's good. So borrowing that to say a phrase from my friend, the friend of mine, say this lamentation is a universal feature of Indian teachers. It is a subject. And this is usually heard towards the end of the academic year. Why didn't they lament in the beginning of the academic year? I don't know. They were busy with some other activities. And usually this lamentation is appended to extra classes on the usual non-working days or extra hours borrowed from somebody else or say like that. The sincerity of these teachers is to be appreciated. They must be congratulated on their extra efforts. But why should I ask the same question which I had been asking for the last many, many years? Inability to cover the portions. Should I get ready to have a viral fever at the end of every academic year? If I had a viral fever during the towards the end of the last 5 academic years, then common sense tells me that by the end of this academic year also, I am likely to catch that viral fever. And the next year too. During the last 5 years, I have been hospitalized because of this viral fever. And this year also, though the exams are fast approaching, I haven't taken any remedial measures. Also, I mean, precautionary measures means, am I a practical person? Though a sincere teacher? If every year the same lamentation is repeated, there should be some machinery, some mechanism to address it so that next academic year, it shouldn't happen. And the second thing is that whether I lament or not, my salary is safe. The only one who suffers is batch after batch students. Last year, because of my inability to cover the portions, one batch of students, they wrote exam. And quite a few questions were there, which I failed to teach. This year, it's another batch of students. Again, this time, I'm not able to teach the last, act of the Shakespeare play. Some 45 years ago, a senior teacher, while I was teaching in a college, in a government college, a senior teacher came to the department and said, I think he came after one class, and Bhaskaran, it was the beginning of the academic year. Bhaskaran, I got up. He was much senior to me. This year, I am going to teach Macbeth from the last act, that is Act 5 onwards. Not only I was startled, and I was wondering how to do it. Prose pieces we use to pick and choose. Sometimes the first prose piece may not be that much appealing to students. So the fourth one is a short story, a O. Henry story. We would teach the first one, the fourth O. Henry story first. Then we will move to Mahatma Gandhi or say Tolstoy, like that. No harm. It's a pedagogic device, a technique. But how is this senior professor and a scholar too going to teach Macbeth from the fifth act to then fourth act to third act to second act to first act? See my confusion writ largely on my face. He said, Bhaskaran, this Macbeth has been prescribed for the last 7 years. And this is the 8th year. All these 7 years I have been teaching Macbeths, but never was I able to complete the play. Somewhere by the end of the fourth act, I was forced to stop. So this year I am going to begin with the fifth act. Whatever happens, then I am going to proceed either from the first act to fourth or fourth to third act. I was relaxed. That's good. So covering portion is that way as well. I still remember his humor-embedded sincerity. He was a very sincere teacher. He was unable to do it because of so many unexpected interventions like student strikes and our own teacher strike, and say Kerala is famous or ill-famous, also notorious for strikes. Even a bus strike will affect the normal functioning in Kerala, and I belong to this place. So this is the teaching learning situation. Quite a few batches of students left the BA class without knowing what happened in the end, either to Macbeth or to Hamlet or to Othello or to King Lear, whoever it may be. No harm, they all wrote exams. And we all got salary as well. Increment too, no problem. Now, can we do some sort of a precautionary measure to this thing? Yeah, either precaution or remediation. The latter part of my title, the subtitle, that is the learner potentials in focus. Learner potentials in focus. I used to ask the participants of my teacher training program, we don't call it training because training is an outdated expression, which is just not what we wanted to do. We have a small organization called English Language Teachers Interaction Forum, LTIF, and we have been organizing teacher empowerment programs, especially in villages. And I used to ask the teachers of primary classes, why do children come to school? Naturally, their answer is, as you guessed right now, to study. I stare at them in disbelief. Then they think that there is some other objective in children coming to school. Then they say, some of them at least bold enough to say that they come to play. I smile, partly good. But I ask, but to play, they need not come all the way to school. They can play with the children in the neighborhood. Suppose they all refuse to come to school and they decide to play somewhere there, no problem. The teachers also agreed. Then why should they come to school? Then some used to relax themselves and try to answer in a light way. Sir, they come to fight. That's good. That is better than say playing, because back at home with neighboring children they can play, they can't fight. Parents are there, evil. The evil presence of parents are there. So they naturally come to, say, school and they can fight. That's good. Is there any other objective? Slowly and gradually. Then I ask them. They are also teachers of primary classes. Don't you check the children's pockets occasionally? Yes, sir. What do you find in their pockets? So many things, like the lid of a soda bottle, a piece of chalk, an old button, say detached from say Amma's dress or like that, some ornamental buttons, safety pin, maybe a colored hairpin. So many things. True. Anything else? Then the list got lengthier and lengthier. All natural things, those inhabit children's pocket, shirt pocket or say skirt pocket or say trousers pocket. Like, yes, I got a long list of wonderful collection of student treasures, their valuable possessions. Then I asked them, why do children bring all these things to school? School is a place to study. You told me school is a place to study. Why do they bring this old, say, soda bottle lid and say the wooden ornamental button detached from the Amma's dress and all? So they come to say show it to their friends. Very good. So children come to school partly for showing their personal possessions too. Am I right? Yes, unanimously, yes, yes. Then I asked them, do they have one more pocket? They couldn't get the question. Sir, they have 2 or 3 or 4 pockets. No, I am asking about an inner pocket, an invisible pocket. Then somebody said, you mean their mind? Yes. What do they bring in their mind when they come to school in the early morning? Sir, they want to tell their friends about the snake they saw yesterday. Very good. And what else? The kite they made, say, this morning. Fine. And what else? They watched, say, somebody milking the cow when they were on the way to school. Fine. Very good. What else? They saw somebody climbing up the coconut tree and say bunches of coconuts falling with making very big noise, and very good. And what else? Again came hundreds and hundreds of possessions which children used to keep in their invisible inner pocket called mind to display it to their friends and, if permissible, to their teachers as well. Then I concluded my session saying that, my dear young sisters, most of them are women, children come to school to proudly display their possessions, kept both in the external pockets, like a piece of chocolate, and more than that, in their internal pockets. what they saw, what they heard, what they experienced, what they smelled, what they tasted, what they understood, what they perceived, or what and how they developed their conceptualization about the world outside, the reality. It is for this thing that they come to school. On a Monday morning, they may have too much of things and too many things to collect because 2 days were holidays. Then I asked my participants, do you give some slot in your 45-minute class for them to display their possessions, concrete possessions, as well as abstract possessions? Then they slowly and some partly shook their head, but not fully. Some said, sorry, sir, we don't allow. We simply go and say, mark the attendance and teach and come back. Very good. All these things which children, small children, bring in both pockets are the best teaching learning materials. Seeing a snake last evening crawling into a small hole, bunches of coconuts falling with great noise, a road getting repaired, newly repaired, and get a black, beautiful surface with tar and sand and all those things. All these are the things that students bring to the class for sharing with the peers and, if permissible, with the teacher. Miss, yes. If the miss gives permission to the whole class to share whatever they had experienced in the past and what they think about their future and what at present they are, the rain outside, umbrellas getting wet. All these things are the real teaching learning materials for lower classes. Then here my august audience, most of them teachers of literature, may wonder, see, he's talking about, this old man is talking about all say, small primary classes. We are teaching MA classes, and well, we better turn off and leave. Fine, no problem. But say to the MA class and to the UG class also, I think students come with the inner pocket, the invisible pocket, with their own experience, with their own, say, Sherlock Holmes reading, or say with their own, say, listening to a film song, or say watching 1 or 2 films and all those things. Don't you think that these adolescent people also have something to share with the teacher and with their peers? Don't you think that, say, the English class, the so-called English literature class, can give a small slot, 5-minute slot, for displaying their experience as well, the lived experience? Forget about the soda bottle lid and say piece of chalk and say show button and all those things. What about these things? Don't they come to the college and university classes with their shared knowledge of the world? Doesn't that single experience have a role to play in a Shakespeare play? If you try, can that, say, one incident be related to George Orwell's or, say, some other's essay or anything there? Can some of these experiences be related to W.B. Yeats or, say, T.S. Eliot or anybody else? Or are we supposed to download the illusions, thousands of, in the wasteland? Is there no scope for an adolescent learner to relate his or her life with the life in the wasteland or the bird in the cathedral? or in the riders to the sea? While teaching the riders to the sea, one of the best short plays. While teaching the riders to sea, have we ever invited a learner from the fishing community to narrate his or her experience, the loss of her father or brother at sea? This is the latter part of my title, trying to suggest learner potentials. Their English may be weak, but give them a chance to express themselves, partly in their mother tongue and your mother tongue, and partly in broken English. Don't you think that these learner potentials can make classroom more lively and better livable? Should we stick to the printed page or the enforced online teaching with a slideshow and PPTs? Quite a few students complain the ridiculous nature of PPT presentations by their teachers. They say the boring lecture, which we have been complaining so far, that would be far better than this PPT circus. Maybe their choice. They are adolescents. They are also voters. They also have one vote. They too will be electing the President of India next week, like me. So they too have their own opinion. So if they too are part of electing the President of India next week, don't we think that they too should have a voice in the English class as well? You teach literature. I'm not asking anybody to teach communication skills. No, please don't teach. To teachers of English literature, the scholars of English literature, I was just asking whether the pangs and pains, the depressions and the small happiness and the small birthdays and all those things which the adolescent learners have been experiencing, can part of them be made as teaching, learning materials, and can partly they be accommodated in the teaching learning processes? Instead of this 50-minute monologue on Philip Larkin or Ted Hughes or Tom Gunn or postmodernism or the much celebrated feminism in theater. Don't you think that there are, say, rich experiences among the girls sitting in front of you from their own experience to be made use of as a prelude to introduce feminism? Didn't you know that one girl is sitting in front of you whose books and other study materials were thrown out into the street last night when the father came drunk? Didn't we ask to write a small paragraph in their mother tongue, forget about English, in their mother tongue, about their experience of masculine domination, parental oppression? We go back to Simone de Beauvoir. The question is that If there is a girl in the class, I mean a woman, not a girl, I mean, I'm referring to college teachers. If there is a woman in the class, we better begin the lecture on feminism with some contribution from that girl, pleasant or unpleasant, doesn't matter. We need not ask her to fully reveal the details or say names of persons or anything. She can even embed her experience in a sort of fancy story, imagination with the characters change. Did you ever try to do it? I was wondering. Post-colonialism, great. Don't we have the miniature types of post-colonial treatment in families, in a community? Have you ever tried to look for such socio-cultural, political issues, including dowry and caste systems and all those things? My dear young colleagues, I'm sure all my listeners are younger to me, but I'm addressing to the younger generation, below 40. My dear young colleagues, learners every day bring to your college class a textbook to teach, which is not prescribed by any university. No university in India has the guts to prescribe these learners' experiences as a teaching learning material. We haven't grown to that stage. Pedagogy-wise, higher education-wise, we are primitives. I underline, I'm ready to answer any queries in this regard. In higher education, India is still in the primitive stage. Shouldn't we responsible or feel self-responsible partly to this unemployment, student dropout, and finally to the student suicide too? Don't we think that English is at the core of these issues? It is not geography, or say it is not, say, economics, or it's not politics, or it's not chemistry that drives away learners from learning. In India, it's mainly English. And the 3 years they are with me, my responsibility is to teach a few prose pieces and give the answers to the comprehension questions, which are definitely to appear in the university exam as well. You may think that I'm reacting a little more violently than necessary, perhaps. True, because I told you I'm not an academic. I'm a social worker. So I look at the entire thing, not from your perspective, but from an entirely different perspective, as a parent's perspective, or as I told you, as a social being. Yeah, I think I would like to answer queries. But before I conclude, let me say that if teachers of English all together from KG to PG and even beyond, if all of us work together, India's future will be entirely different. I mean, only teachers of English, nobody else. From LKG to PG, if we all dedicate, or at least forget about dedication and sincerity and all those things, if we try to do justice to our salary, we could change the face of India in a few years. This is the message I have to convey this evening to the scholars of English literature and teachers of English. If I was a little rude in my voice, that rudeness came from the pain I had been suffering by reading the newspaper reports. Kindly be excused. I thank once again the office bearers of iSPELL, all the listeners of this afternoon. We too have this type of a forum, but in addition to these say lectures and teacher training programs and all such things, we do go to villages, collect learners anywhere, either on a school veranda or in front of a temple or any place of worship or a social organization like a sports and arts club. And there we spend time with school children informally, without textbook and anything, thinking that one day these children will not be afraid of English. Once that fear is wiped out, then I think the rest they will manage. It is the fear of English inherent in the Indian community and especially fossilized in the children that deprives of them the opportunity to enter the language of opportunities called English. My dear young ones, colleagues, let us try together and let us work for the disadvantaged, the marginalized, the poor. Through our own area, you need not enter politics, you need not jump into social work either, but remaining within the classroom, can we have a better way of looking at teaching and learning of English language? My sincere thanks to all. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your excellent deliberation, sir. Now the session is open for discussion. The literary lovers can post question or you can unmute yourself to speak to sir.
Please speak. Please
Thank
ask
you, sir.
questions.
This is, shall I ask a question, sir? Thank you, sir. This is Dr.
Most
Rufus from Madras Christian College. Sir, I was so touched by the last line that you said. If all of us teachers from KG to PG, if we are conscious of the salaries that we get, we can change the face of India in less than 2 years. Sir, this is an amazing statement. And coming from the heart, because we had you in Madras Christian College last month. And we are so engrossed in your talk. So admire your talk. Thank you so much, sir. I think, this is my takeaway personally, for the good salaries that we get. If you are only conscious, and if you are aware of this aspect, I'm sure we can definitely change the face of India in less than 2 years, as you have imagined it, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. By the way, sorry, Ms. Vinita, sorry for the interruption. We have been organizing programs in various parts of villages in Kerala. And most of you know that in Kerala, we don't have the real villages. Almost all villages in Kerala are small towns. So not remote villages as we have. We do organize 1-week programs for school children, college children. Anyone willing to join us, most welcome. From railway station, back to railway station, local hospitality, food, accommodation, everything will be taken care of by us, our organization. You will be staying with us 2 days or 3 days or 1 week. You can go to say classes and interact with children both inside or outside. At home, there are so many varieties of say activities are going on. You are most welcome to be part of this organization. You need not be a member of this thing, etc. Membership means subscription to this journal, nothing else. Even without say subscribing to a journal or being the member, you can simply come to Kerala and be with us and enjoy life with us, even with the family, friends. Most welcome. Thank you.
Sir, now you have joined the
Thank you,
family
sir.
of iSPELL also. So let's have the collaboration of iSPELL with NTIF so that we can go a long way, and we can even invite you also to the nook and corners of the country so that we can spread it. What you have said is we can change the scenario of India within 2 years if we take care of our salary. All the time I say to most of the teachers also, if we see our own children, our own sons and daughters in front of us when we were in the classroom or when we are in the classroom, then the quality of education will never deteriorate. The moment we see someone else in place of our own sons and daughters, the quality is not going to be updated, uplifted, our education will not be upholded. So that's the very important thing, and all the teachers must realize it. That's we are there for the service, and that's absolutely right. That the condition of English, and as you were talking about Sunday Sahityik Satsang, let me tell you, sir, the full form of iSPELL is Indian Society for the Promotion of English Language and Literature. So we have both the people. We have the people of language, we have the people of literature, and we have organized a month-long program on ELT only. So that's why your talk was not new to us, and we are not the means what you call the teachers of only literature, but we are also the teachers of language, and language too has the literature in it. So that's why your talk was most welcome, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Sir,
Ghanshyam,
there is
for
a question.
that. Yes, Vinita, you can continue. Yes.
Okay, ma'am. There is a question by Dr. A.S. Puvama in chat box. I'll read the question, sir.
Yes,
Teachers should engage classes with prior preparation and allocate their portions based on their timetable. Then the question of not being able to cover portions doesn't arise. This is my view. That is the question, sir. Do you agree with
here the question is, what do we mean by portion? Portion of the textbook or portion of the life? To me, it is the latter. In a college or wherever maybe, the learner is with us for a number of years. Are we satisfied by covering the pages of the textbook, or should we cover the pages of the learner's life? That's all.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Any questions? Any further questions?
Sir, I mean the overall personality of the students, even based on the portions, there are a lot of things that we can really teach them, the other values of life and things of that kind. So it's an overall thing, like we also can engage remedial classes and conduct co-curricular and extracurricular activities and instill all that in them. So so it is a part of the portion, actually.
Yeah, the question here is, when compared to other components in the curriculum,
yeah,
languages are to be separately treated. I'm not asking for a superior treatment, nor an equal treatment, but a different treatment. The question here is that in the Indian setup,
yeah,
is English a piece of cargo or carrier?
We
It's the
need
question.
to, yeah.
English is not the cargo. English is the
Yeah.
carrier. It is through this truck. It is through this lorry. It is through this mini lorry. Students have to carry social studies, chemistry, physics, maths, and everything, except, say, Kannada or Marathi or, say, Kashmiri or Malayalam. For all other, say, subjects, this is the small truck they possess. And we are the people who are in charge of keeping this truck intact. When this truck is, say, damaged, how do they carry social science and chemistry and physics?
Yeah. So that kind of a development, though, that's what I meant, like, though. All-round personality, definitely will have to be looked into.
Personality develops only through language. It is a corresponding level. Linguistic development takes place, cognitive development and, say, personality development all together. And the mainstay is cognitive development, and cognitive development is always supported by linguistic development.
Yeah, that's true. Thank you, sir.
Sir, can I ask you a question, sir?
Please.
I'm Nisha. So can I ask you a question? I was just wondering whether you were of the same view as Ngugi Wa Thiong'o, where he said that English department should be abolished and we should start departments of cultural studies. Do you agree with him? I was just wondering.
I was about to borrow that title when Dr. Jayanti asked me, but then quite a few people may be waiting aggressively to listen to my lecture. But say that great man had it in a different context. He was talking about the variety of English that we should choose. Not abortion of, in fact, the total English, the colonial English department. There, his question was that. In fact, I had been arguing, say, vehemently, but I don't know whether the time permits me. The problem is that in one conference, I presented a paper saying that burn the textbook. Burn the textbook. Then you can imagine, say, the vehement opposition from the participant. I mean,
that is a very revolutionary idea, sir. How can you have exams if you burn the textbook?
You have to burn the textbook. Before that, you should digest the textbook, and you leave the printed textbook in the department. As an English teacher is never expected to carry a textbook to the English class. Before that, you have to internalize it. It is a jadharagni. Like that, there is an internal cognitive fire. You should assimilate the content and language and style of the wasteland cognitively and linguistically, and then you have to go to the class. No need of the full text.
I was there in your lecture, sir. Burn the textbook in Cochin. It was in Kochi.
I see.
Yeah, I was there. So our teacher has to be a rebel. And as far as rebel is concerned, it's nothing but the connotation may be different. The rebel is rebelling once again. So whatever we have been taught, so you need to learn, relearn, unlearn, then only the process will start.
True. No, what I mean to say is that, say, an Indian is never expected to set fire to a printed page, not even a newspaper. We rarely do like that, because India respects letters, because a printed book is something equal to Guru. So nobody believes that I was thinking of, say, striking a match and, say, setting fire to. What I mean is that a social science teacher, a chemistry teacher, any teacher first should internalize the content of the textbook, and not from the textbook, but from the syllabus. And then one is not expected to carry the textbook, because I am a textbook writer from class 1 to MA. And quite a few of my textbooks are still there in various parts of India and a few abroad as well. I write a textbook exclusively with that girl in that particular class in front of me, not even the boy. If I wrote a textbook for class 8, I had an 8th standard girl of an average family, from an average family in front of me. Every exercise, every task I design, and I ask her, my dear child, can you do it? She said, yes, sir, I'll manage. Do you need some more additional work? Then I give clue, a few examples. It is with the consent of this 8th standard girl, I had been writing textbooks for 8th standard. The same with second BA, the same with MA, the same with LKG as well. I have been writing textbooks only for the children, not for you, not that for the teacher. For the teacher, the syllabus is there, the reference materials are there, the online things are there, encyclopedia is there, so many things are there. Please don't carry my textbook to the class. Never, never. Yeah. Totally confused?
Yes, Vinuta.
If confused, I'm really happy, because confusion is the right point for progress. If I confused anyone among my audience, I am very, very happy.
Vinuta ma'am, are you there? I think there is a question in the chat box.
Please. Can one of you read out, please?
Yes, one second, sir. I'm just...
Dr. Vinuta ma'am.
I'll just read it, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Please, ma'am.
You continue. I
Yes,
think
yes.
Vinuta.
Her connection has been cut, I think so.
Right.
Yes. Sometimes students hesitate to speak in English even after encouraging and giving hope to them. Is there any method to change their attitude, sir? This is by Shivakumar.
Whose attitude?
A student's attitude.
No need of changing the attitude of Indian students. Indian students, as far as English is concerned, they are perfectly okay, 100 plus 1% okay. Attitude of the teachers is to be changed. Attitude of the administration is to be changed. Attitude of the university is to be changed. Nothing else. Governments are okay. Governments are perfectly okay. Even say in the center, there, even though there are some political maneuvering and all those things against English, so far, nothing bad, even from the central government. All the state governments in English, in India, are perfectly encouraging English language and literature studies. Universities, their academic bodies and teachers. Below that, no need of any change in the attitude of students. Parents are very, very well equipped. Parents feel the need and urge of having English for their children. Nobody has to change their attitude except teachers and administrations.
Thank you, sir. Vinuta, is your connection on? Will you be able to continue?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I'll continue.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Now it's time to introduce the chairperson of this session. It's my pleasure to render a warm welcome to today's chairperson, Dr. Nisha Venugopal, to this auspicious event. Dr. Nisha Venugopal is working as Professor of English, Kaladi Main Center of Sri Shankaracharya University of Sanskrit, Kerala. She is PhD student of the renowned scholar, creative writer, and poet, Dr. Ayyappa Panikar, Professor and Head, Department of English, University of Kerala. She has 22 years of teaching experience, and her area of interest is cultural and media studies, literary theory, and environment studies. She has published articles in scholarly journals like LitCrit, Samyukta, Sahitya Academy Journal, and so on. She has held various positions, including being head of the Department of English at Kaladi Main Center from 2015 to 17. She has been a member of academic committee at the Regional Center Trivandrum, has been external examiner for MA Viva OC, MPhil Viva OC. She has been a subject expert in the selection committee in 2018-19 and in assessment committee for the upgradation from JRF to SRF in 2018 and 19, has been an external examiner for evaluating 8 PhD theses from year 2018 to 2020, member of Board of Studies in 2019, and an external subject expert for the CAS promotion of teachers in 2020. To her acclaim, she has completed UGC minor project titled The Paradox of the Insider-Outsider Perspective in Dalit Literature. She has been research supervisor for 7 PhD researchers till now. She is the author of a book entitled Serendipity, an anthology of journal articles in 2019. She has contributed a chapter entitled The Representation of the Comic in Kingsley Amis' Lucky Gem, Looking Back in Laughter, in the book Humor, Texas and Contexts, published in 2015. She has published 18 journal articles and also presented papers in several national and international seminars. Now I request our chairperson, Dr. Nisha Venugopal, Madam, to share her views on today's session. Over to you, Madam.
Thank you for that introduction, Vinita. I think it is too long. Today's I'm coming for the first time. I'm new to this organization, and this is my first. This is the first time that I'm listening to the iSPELL organization. I'm very pleased to be here and happy. And this was the keynote speaker's address. P. Bhaskaran sir's address was really interesting and touching. I'm sure all of us English teachers have ended up with a huge guilty conscience. I know we are partly to blame because of the huge portions that we have been burdened with, and the things that we have to teach, and the short time in which we have to teach because of the credit and semester. And now I realize that we should never complain, because sir's talking about not the examination, university examination or school examinations, but he's talking about the examination of life. And he's talking about how we can equip the students, the young students, as well as the mature students, to face the examination of life. How to make the students aware that they needn't be afraid of English, and what is the role that we teachers can play to make English fairly easy for them. From my experience, I find that it is mostly students who come from the government schools who face difficulty in talking in English or communicating in English. Probably, I think we had a research scholar who did a research in finding out why is it that students are so scared of English. And she came out, I think it was Dr. Sridevi from the NSS College, and she came up with this thesis that most of the students, most of the teachers who taught at the government schools were not actually teachers of English. It was actually the science teacher, social studies teacher, or the maths teacher who substituted for the English teacher. And naturally, they were not that well versed in English, and their mistakes would have been handed down to the students, and probably their fear of the language would have been handed down to the students. And she suggested that Sridevi suggested that English should be introduced as a subject at the B.Ed level at Kerala University and other universities in Kerala. And to a certain extent, I think we have been able to get teachers of English at the primary level, other than maths teachers and science teachers and physics teachers teaching English. But I don't think we have had an easy solution. Solutions are not easy. I think maybe we should all contribute our might to improving the learning experience of the poorer, marginalized students. Try to pitch in with our own experiences.
Yeah.
Are you able to hear? Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Hello, are you able to hear me?
Yes, madam.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Please continue, ma'am.
Yeah. So I was.
Yes, madam.
It was a very touching speech. The first I was wondering what he was talking about, because the topic was. I thought he would be giving us some instruction about how to cover the portion. Can't cover the portion. You can do it and more. So I was wondering. I thought he would give us easy solutions like equations, how we could finish portions on time. And I was really flabbergasted with what he had to say. And I understood that he's not talking about the portions in the examination. He's talking about how to bring up the students to face life. Thank you, sir. This has been enriching experience. Listening to your talk has been an enriching experience, and I'm sure we will all try to do our best to see that there are no more student dropouts or student suicides. We'll contribute our bit to see such things to a certain level. I mean, decrease. It comes to a minimal rate. We English teachers can't change the world, but we can try in our own way. Thank you, sir, for taking your time out and trying to touch a conscience with such a revolutionary talk. I'm sure we'll go back with our hearts cleansed, with new ideas in our mind. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Once again, I render my sincere thanks to Dr. Nisha Venugopal, madam, for accepting our invitation to be the chairperson of this session. Thank you, madam. I request our guest of honor, Professor Ashok Sachdev, Vice President, iSPELL India, to give the concluding remarks.
Thank you so much. It has indeed been a radically different kind of a lecture. Dr. Bhaskaran Nair has raised pertinent issues. He has raised concerns and questions, and he has brought to our attention various different aspects of and approaches and methods. So this lecture was highly enlightening, highly beneficial to all of us. It was, of course, there are wonderful remarks in the chat box that it was an eye-opening lecture, highly revealing, insightful, and excellent deliberation. So the chat box is full of very, very wonderful and amazing feedback. We highly appreciate your lecture and the way you have delivered it. And there were many, many questions and interrogations that were raised. So heartiest congratulations to Dr. Bhaskaran Nair and to the chairperson's remark. Now it's time to give away the certificates. Indian Society for the Promotion of English Language and Literature is very pleased to give this certificate of appreciation. And the certificate is proudly presented to Dr. P. Bhaskaran Nair, who is a professor of English, Hindustan University, Chennai, formerly of Pondicherry Central University. Your topic, sir, the title itself is very catchy. Can't cover the portion, you can do it and more. Participatory learning, teaching in focus. And therefore, it starts with the interrogation, and you have raised pertinent questions and concerns in your lecture. Today on 3rd July as being the 95th lecture. Sir, please accept this certificate on behalf of iSPELL. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure.
The second certificate.
I now request.
The second certificate goes to Dr. Nisha Venugopal, Professor of English, Sri Sankaracharya University of Sanskrit, Trivandrum, Kerala, for giving the precious remarks in the capacity of chairperson. Please, madam, kindly accept this certificate. We are very pleased to give this certificate to you.
Thank you, sir.
And the next certificate goes to the certificate of appreciation is proudly presented to Dr. Venuta P. Kunderi, who is an assistant professor of English, Karnataka State Open University, Mysuru, Karnataka, as being the master of ceremony in this 95th E-Sunday Sahitik Satsang. Thank you so much for being with us as a master of ceremony, madam.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
This is going to be the 96th lecture next Sunday on 10th of July. I invite you all to this lecture on 10th July at 4 p.m. once again, where the main speaker will be main speaker will be Dr. Preeti Sharma, who is from Rajasthan, Jaipur, Rajasthan. Over to you, madam.
Thank you, sir. Now it's time for vote of thanks. Language is power, life, and the instrument of culture, the instrument of domination and liberation, says Angela Carter. On behalf of the iSPELL India Forum, I would like to extend heartfelt thanks to Professor Ghanshyam, Founder and General Secretary, Dr. Anupama Vohra, the President, Dr. Prashant Chakrabarti, the Vice President, Dr. Ashok Sachdev, the Vice President, Dr. P. Bhaskaran, and Dr. Nisha Venugopal for making today's Sahitik Satsang facilitate to elevate event a grand success. My heartfelt thanks to all the EC members of iSPELL India Society from across the country. Special thanks to the event coordinator from iSPELL Tamil Nadu Forum, Dr. Jayanti, event coordinator and convener of Tamil Nadu Forum, Assistant Professor of English, Sri S. Ramaswamy Naidu Memorial College, Sattur, for cooperation in conducting today's event. Last but not least, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to Dr. Captain Indrani, convener of iSPELL Karnataka Forum, for her support and guidance. Thank you so much, ma'am. I'm extremely thankful to all the participants and the supporting hands in making this event a memorable and grand success. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, Vanita.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you so much, sir, for accepting our invitation and honoring us with your session. It was very enlightening, sir, as usual. I have no words to express my gratitude for accepting the invitation, sir. Thank you so much. And thank you, Nisha ma'am, for being here with us on this wonderful day. I should thank Ghanshyam sir for everything, for making this session a grand success. Thank you so much, sir.
Let us switch on the cameras and have a photograph. Let us have a group photographs.
Sir, have you ever visited Attapadi, where Saran school is there?
No.
Me.
Yes,
No.
Bhaskaran sir, he is asking.
No, not Attapadi, but equally, socially backward areas.
Yeah,
I have been working with the tribals in say Wayanad and part of Kannur district.
No. What I am asking is, sir, there is a school called Saranga School.
Yeah.
Sarang.
Yeah.
It's time for the group photo.
Yeah, it's an alternative school. I think it has been started in 1980 by Mr. Gopal Krishnan. The couple have started the school. So have you ever visited that school? So
no, not yet.
All the participants, please switch on your cameras for a quick photograph. Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir.